Hi everybody, Kim Berry here with Kim's DIY Tribe and part 3 of using Cricut's Infusible Ink on your acrylic. We're going to be using this choice today to make a masculine version, and it looks like the steel crosshatch pattern on toolboxes that you find in pickup bed trucks. So it's really masculine and perfect for a Father's Day award. I went into the Glowforge user interface. It's still in this beta trial. That means right now it's free. I am assuming that at some point they're going to do a monthly charge, just like Cricut does with their design space, the extra access. You get a lot more things for your money if you subscribe to that. So we'll see. I don't know yet. I don't have the inside intel. All I did was go up here to the plus button, and I wrote in the word shield, typed it in, and it pulled up all these different shields that you could use. I chose one of those. Then I wanted to make sure to tell the Glowforge to engrave it. I just want the shield engraved. I wanted to cut out a square around it, so I picked the square shape, and I highlighted this and put my square around it and told the Glowforge to cut it in the settings. Right now they're all on ignore because I was working on cutting out my paper for the infusible ink. Then I went in and added my text. Don't forget that when you're here, you want to go mirror it. So you want to click on all your text, highlight it on the shift button, and there will be a button over here that pops up that you can mirror. Remember in part 1 and part 2 I showed you about how the buttons over here let you put an offset path or an outline and let you mirror it. You want to mirror this so that the engraving will be backwards to you, because that's where your infusible ink will be ironed onto, so that when you flip it, it will look correct. If you are missing some steps, don't forget to watch part 1 and part 2 of this series on using your infusible ink on acrylic. Here I've highlighted all my text, and here's the box up here that popped up for me. I'm going to mirror it by flipping it horizontally so it will become backwards. And that's what we're looking for. The way I cut my fusible ink for the acrylic plate that's going to make the Dad Award was I put my fusible web onto the bed using painter's tape, sticky side up. I anchored it with a few pieces in the corner. Then I stuck my fusible ink paper to the sticky tape and laid my acrylic template, where I just cut the award out of, inside to let me know that I was using that same shape correctly. So here we go. We're going to press it and hope for the best. It should take about 24 seconds to cut the perfect shape to iron on. And I am using 20% power with a speed of 500. The reason I wanted the tape underneath is so as it cut the paper, it wouldn't start to curl up and peel and move around in the laser bed. I wouldn't want the fan speed blowing that paper around. All right, let's check how we did. I'm removing my pins that held my acrylic in place and helped to trap my paper. Set this to the side, and we're going to peel this up. And see, this is the plastic coating on the infusible ink, so we're just going to peel this away. And there's the cuts. They're very faint, but they're going to be perfect in helping me line them up on the acrylic shape for ironing on. I thought I'd come in and video some of the steps that I am using to make this part happen. So it's the same idea that we used on all our other acrylic, but I thought you might like to see the entire process. So I'm going to go ahead. I filled these in with my paint pens and allowed it to dry. Just the regular old paint pens. Any paint pen will work. It can be an acrylic paint pen or an oil-based paint pen. You allow them to dry. You take away the masking that comes on your acrylic. I'm working on this radial pink background so that you can see. I tried to do it on my white table, but it kind of blends into the white. The masking does. If you use the implements of destruction, like I was telling you, be careful for your own fingers and be careful that you don't scratch your acrylic. I went through and used I left the same design in my Glowforge user interface and went and cut my fusible ink paper as well. I just changed the settings to 20% power with a speed of 500, a thickness of 0.01. You might want to up your power to 30 or 40 if you want to cut all the way through the plastic part too. I didn't, and I'll show you why in just a minute. But if you were using another application, that might be important. This is where the weeding is going to get a little bit fussy on all those tiny little letters to make it a personalized plaque for Dad. Since I'm doing this, I'm filming right before Father's Day. But you could use this for any type of award for any occasion. Graduation, Mother's Day, soccer, like if you're a soccer coach, or Little League, or a teacher, or you just want to make like shower gifts or costume party awards. This same idea can be used with any topic. All right, I'm going to turn this off for just a minute so that I can weed the fussy parts away and not have wasting your time watching me do that, and then I'll come back. And I popped this out. It was almost perforated, and I'm going to make sure that I apply it on the reverse side because the engraving is on this. Remember, we mirror and flipped it in the Glowforge user interface. All of this design was just built right in the Glowforge user interface. I didn't have to use Inkscape or Canva or anything else. It's not an SVG, it's just built right through their interface. Now, because this is a bigger design, I've got my iron, my regular household iron, heated up and ready to go. I'm going to tape this down with the Infusible Ink tape. Here's what the Cricut Infusible Ink tape, it's heat resistant tape, looks like. We're going to anchor our shield to that back side of the acrylic where we engraved. We're going to put a few of these pieces of tape to hold our design steady. And then we're going to iron on the highest setting. We're going to make sure our iron's good and hot. I'm using the household iron today instead of the heat press so that we can cover the entire design. We're going to get it to the highest temp as close to 400 as we can, and we're going to heat it for at least 30 seconds because the household iron doesn't heat to the full 400. It might take me just a bit longer. I'm going to set my timer. Echo, set a timer for 30 seconds, and I'll be back with you for the peel.
Starting now.
Echo, stop. There's our timer, and I told you we'd be back for the peel. We'll peel it away and see if our infusible ink transferred. If not, we'll apply some more heat. Remember, it's super hot, so we want to be careful of our fingers. And let this cool just a tad. Loosen up our tape. The tape is supposed to not leave any residue. This is my first time using it, so we shall find that out together and see. Remember, this is hot. You could be more patient than I am. Do as I say, not as I do. But it's so exciting. Okay, good sign. And there we have that steel built pattern from our fusible ink because I wanted something more masculine than the mermaid. So this will look great put in a wood base, and I'll show you the pictures when I'm all done.